Yeah. Yeah, I like the word. It feels good to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, this is hard. Have you heard of Matt Kearney?
Have you ever heard of Sade?
Are you kidding me? Florida Georgia line? Those are my boys.
When Alayla's talking to me, I never assume that she's just talking to me. I always assume, or like I have this thing like in my heart where I'm like, I just made a status about this where I'm like, God, the Most High, the Most Divine, my ancestors, my sacred self. I know Alayla is communicating to me, but she's communicating to me for something else that she may have in career, maybe have experience. And I always ask for that divine to guide my words to her heart. I want to speak directly to the thing that she needs because it's always, it's deeper. It's, oh, mom, you know, I was thinking, I want to get a unicorn lamp. Well, to a parent, it'd be like, oh, it's just a random thought. But for children, it's not just a random thought. There's a significance behind it. And I like to get to that part instead of just saying, no, you don't need that. Wait. There may be something inside of her that needs that. There may be.
It's so great. I love what you're saying right now. As, you know, I'm coaching some parents right now.
Yes.
And to go for, so I'm coaching a parent of a sensitive child.
Sure.
And if you discipline a sensitive child,
oh my gosh,
like you do kids that are non-sensitive, this is devastating to the child. And what I'm hearing you say is you want to understand behind it, and you have to do that with the sensitive because you typically don't need to speak harshly. You should not isolate them.
No.
You should not, certainly not hit a sensitive with spanking. Those methods are devastating to the sensitive.
Yeah. And using words like, using language. So I never say, this is a transition that I've been playing with because the word discipline is so harsh to me, Kim. I don't know why. And I'm sure it might have something to do with childhood, like because my parents were disciplinary. Probably. But when I hear that word, because again, it's not that we hear a word and the meaning is objective. We typically define the meaning of words based on our experiences with that energy. So for me, discipline was totally associated differently versus someone else who experienced discipline in like school, and it was just a different set of actions and behaviors. And so for me, I was like, I do want to reprogram how I respond to the word discipline by changing the word to devotion. I would rather say that I'm devoted to this or devoted toward that, or I devote my energy into this, because devotion and discipline are similar. They're very similar. Devotion says that, hey, there's this thing that I really, really want, that I really want to put energy into. When you devote, it means that you're focused, you're creating that, you're consistent with it. So instead of me saying, okay, I'm going to discipline Layla, I always say, now that I've been integrating this word into my life, is how do I devote myself to Layla in a way that's perceptible to her, that she understands? And how do I devote my understanding to Layla, where when she's speaking to me, I'm not giving into the surface impression, because I know I'm not a surface person. By the time I speak, I've already been processed the entire universe. I've already processed an entire universe. By the time I speak, I'm ready to deliver, not to say, oh, well, I said this, now I want to think about it. Layla is that type of person too. Well, by the time she's already spoken, she's already probably experienced something. She's already heard something. She already made her mind up about something. And that's the part that I like to communicate with her. Like, okay, you want that. How do I get closer? How do I get closer?
I love that you take it. To me, I love the word devoted. I love that you're using that word instead. And you're just pausing. You're taking the time to go deeper because you're deeper and you know your daughter's deeper.
Absolutely.
I mean, how honoring is that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've learned that just doing homework with her before. It's growing, you grow into it. Before, doing homework assignments with her, I would say things, I would literally be exhausted. Like, I was just like, what is it she not getting? Like, this is my mindset at one point. Like, what is she not getting? I've done this part before. And then my brain, now that I've created that spiral, it's in that spiral. So every time she's coming to me about a homework question, it's not a fresh start. It is literally me revalidating what I already said. So I found that to be really, really, really exhausting. I'm like, there has to be another way, not just on my spirit, but I'm thinking for her too. Because her responses would be like, okay, Mom, like, okay, I'll try to think about it. And I'm like, okay, there's something happening here. Like, there's something happening. What am I doing? Pausing my actions, pausing the assumptions in my mind. And I'm like, Antwanette, you don't know what Alayla is going through in school when her teacher is teaching her this. You're not her teacher, in a way. Her teacher could be communicating this to her totally different than how you're communicating this to her. Oh, gosh. So now we do the summary thing. Before I help her with her homework, I always ask about her experience. Like, how was math today? When your teacher taught you this, how did you feel? Were you excited? Were you frustrated? Did you want to pause? And she'll tell me everything that I needed to help guide her. She'll tell me, like, well, I was confused because she went really fast on this part. Well, now I know what to put time and energy into. Like, perfect. Before we just hop into the math problem. I have to be present-minded with her. 100%. So, yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, you're giving her probably what maybe you didn't quite get that.
I for sure know. My dad, my parents, my dad was my dad is, when we were growing up as children, he was a disciplinary. Absolutely. Very authoritative, very just like there is no, I'm not gonna ask you questions, or you can't ask me questions. When I show you this first time, you better get it. That's a lot of pressure. So when I didn't get it, I would be very afraid to be like, I don't get it because you just told me your rules and I can't just say this because now I know what's going to happen. Do you think I want those consequences? So I literally, I faked the funk. Like, I faked it. Like, like making up different excuses for me to be away from the homework so that he would get tired out and be done helping me so that I can take my work to school or go on the internet and look up different questions. And that's kind of how I taught myself.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how I taught myself.
We learned not to ask Dad to help us with math. I mean, he would literally get mad and almost yelling. And you're sitting there going, okay, I guess I got to find someone else to help me. But it's funny talking about, how we define words. Yeah. So for me, I would have defined punished. And punished has a very negative connotation to me.
Wow.
It feels condemning. So punishment, I would have never used the word discipline growing up. I don't feel like I was ever disciplined. Sure. I was punished.
Sure.
So the word discipline to me has a very positive connotation. It means, I've organized myself in such a way, like I'm living a disciplined life.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow, Kim, that is what I would have never guessed. Can you imagine talking to people when we're using certain words, and though there's the definition, but the meaning being totally different because we experienced it completely different? I would have never connected that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the word. It feels good to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so.
Yeah, I would talk about, and even just the word discipline means that I took the time to do this carefully and right.
Wow.
Where punishment is just like, I'm whacking you without any explanation, no discussion. I'm raising my voice, having you go in the corner and you're not allowed to speak or share your heart or what's going on.
Wow.
So yeah, punishment lacks to me any self-control.
Absolutely.
And kindness. And discipline to me does.
Wow.
It has care for your emotions in it too. My definition does.
That is really cool. I think that's like the coolest thing that I've heard today. I'm not even kidding, and that's just what happens when you're just open, open in your mind and open and comfortable with your sacred self, because you can learn so much. You can just learn so much. Like what one thing may mean to me completely has a totally different opposite impact or an effect on you. And you know what, Kim? I really think that highlights communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, it highlights it.
There's a reason they say that communication is the key to a healthy and good relationship. And your passion.
Whoa.
I mean, it's the key. My significant other was out of town all weekend and even the last week, just working late hours. And for me, talking to him is my foreplay.
Sure.
It is.
Sure.
I have to be able to have shared some of my life with him. So I'm definitely a sharer.
Yeah.
And so, I've missed that. And I tried to get a little bit of it this morning as he's trying to get out the door.
Wow.
And I miss happy pants in the morning, and he's definitely a groggy froggy. So, I got a little bit in, and he goes, "We'll talk more tonight."
Wow. I'm the same way. Communication is really, really big for me. But it doesn't happen throughout the day. It comes when I'm like chill and I'm sitting down, because I'm very present. I have to be present with you. Meaning that, okay, this time is intentional for you. I'm about to tap into you. I'm about to be on your face. I'm about to just be all over you. I want to hear everything about your life. I want you to hear everything about my life. But when there are things that are pending in my mind where I'm like doing things that I didn't complete it, or I know I have something to do next, I can't. Communication, call it out. Call it quits. All the quits.
No, in fact, that's, I think, similar to our being NFPs, intuitive feeling perceivers, because Steve and I have a thing where we will ask each other a lot, can I ask you a question right now? Ooh. Can I share something with you right now? We ask because, especially me, he knows that I can get so internal.
Yes. And
I can have this whole thing going on in my head. So he'll ask, because he knows it will not be any fun if we try to interrupt it, because I just won't be able to switch gears so quickly. So yeah, I mean, it's such a beautiful thing. Why is that so hard to say to your loved one? Hey, can I ask you a question right now?
Because that awareness, it's the awareness when you really begin to put and focus your energy and your attention internally. And I'm not talking about just like looking within. I want to be really clear about looking within. I'm talking about knowing yourself, knowing why you do certain things, knowing why you like the certain foods you like, knowing why you say certain things a certain way, knowing why when you woke up, you decided to put these specific colors on. It's just being very, very in tune, because nothing that we do on the outside is separate. It's separate from ourselves. It is all connected. So when you really, really, really put energy and attention into yourself and asking yourself questions in writing or talking to a coach, this is why coaches exist, because coaches ask these questions that get the mind wondering, and the mind begins to connect to the spirit, and the spirit gets to connect to your intuition, and then your intuition gets to connect to your memories, And like, here's this big, amazing like ecosystem going on with you that's looking for the answer to the question. It's like, okay, like that's amazing. That is a really amazing feeling to be like, oh, that's why I do that.
Yeah. And, you know, I love how you brought in the coaching, because that's what makes coaching so powerful.
Yes.
On a daily basis, you know, we can get kind of stuck in routine. And, well, I don't know if you and I do so much, but, you know, in general. And we just, you know, kind of are on autopilot. So when you stop and have a coaching session, suddenly you actually do self-reflection.
Yes.
You realize, whoa. And I want to quick share, someone that I'm coaching now, she just met me, and someone had introduced me as a life coach. And she goes, oh, really? She goes, you know what? Can I just come? Can I just have a session with you and see what happens? I'm so open to improving in any way I can.
Wow.
And, you know, and she's such a positive person. Yeah. I thought, wow, she's already really in a good place. This will be interesting. Yeah. And so we get into the first session, and already so much stuff is coming up that we're both realizing, wow, we actually might need to do this for a good 3 months or so. Yeah. And so many things have come up that she realized, you know, and one of them was communication in her relationship. Wow. One of them was even just how her attitude at work.
Sure.
Just things like that. We shifted so quickly that she was able to just feel so much relief so fast. So just a plug for coaching, because it's awesome.
Nice. See, I know that felt good to just when you are guiding like someone on their journey of awareness, like in understanding things within them and things around them, and seeing it differently, or seeing it in a way that empowers and that encourages and that uplifts them. Like that energy is, I just gotta hug myself because it's really good. Yes, it is.
I mean, I celebrate. It's so fun. It's so fun. For me, it's the greatest fun ever is aha moments with clients and seeing them take that and go with it. It's just the best.
I agree.
Cool.
I'm gonna stop it. And then upload it to YouTube.
I realized that I was expecting a family member to fit into my perspective. I mean, I had been so disappointed because, you know, it seemed like whenever I was sharing things I was really excited about, because that's my personality, I get super excited. I'm like, look at this, look what I've made. You know, and when I talk about what I've made, you know, as a kid, you make those drawings and you know, you're doing somersaults or whatever, and you want your family to watch you do it. At least I did. Yeah. I loved an audience. But that wasn't because I was saying, hey, you know, from an arrogant place. It was from a free-spirited, look what I did. This is so amazing. And I would have been excited for anybody else that could do it too. That's just who I was. And as an adult, that hasn't gone away. Like when I create a video, because I'm kind of our resident editor of our videos. Yeah. Many of them, not all of them. I'm so excited to show you. I mean, I send it to you. I'm like, look what I did. Yeah. I'm just so excited. Yeah. But when I bring that same energy to certain people who I've grown up with, they are looking at me with quit bragging. Right. And rolling their eyes. Right. And so that's what I mean. I was trying to fit her perspective into mine, where I'm like, this is so exciting. Right. Look what I've done. But I have that same energy for you. If you showed me something you did, I'm super excited. And that's how I am. So I was expecting her to kind of, for many years, to look at things through my lens of being excited. And now I realize, you know what, I really can't share in the way that I like to share with her or other particular people. But like with you, totally safe to share. Yeah. With my closest friends, totally safe to share, be myself, be excited. And they never look at me and think, there's Kim again.
Right. You know what? I like that you said that. I think, honestly, I really, really do believe that when we are going through these transformations and we are like reinventing ourselves and becoming more aware that there are levels to the people that we attract. So it's like, let's say this first stage of Kim as she's growing into herself and as she's knowing herself and as she's acknowledging herself, you're interacting with people who, let's say, like to follow that. Like, these are people that probably are like, these are certain things that I want about myself. These are certain qualities and attributes that I would like to build inside of myself. And then let's say that you transition into this new phase, right? Where, you're creating and you want to share with the world and you're looking for that interaction, that narrative, that hey, bouncing ideas off of each other because you're in the creator energy, right? Or creatress because you're a female, but you're in this creatress energy where when you're meeting other people, it's like they can bounce that off too. They can share that same creatress energy too, and it just seems like there are levels. Not only are there internal levels to our growth that we experience, but there's also levels to the people that are in our lives that are involved at those moments at that time. I feel like it's really connected to like the law of attraction. It says, where you are in your life, you begin to attract similar like people, experiences, circumstances, and things like that. And it just seems to me that you grew out of a certain mindset. You grew out of into a new mindset, and it seems like the people that you were interacting with back in this level, they're still there. A lot of people become really fixed in their thinking and really fixed in traditions and really fixed in certain habits because that's what they know. That's all they know. And if they're not open to expanding their ideas and their beliefs and maybe adopting and practicing different things that can obviously cater and nurture their sacred self, it's a part where it's just like, what, I accept where you are.
Exactly.
I accept where
you are. Meet them where they're at.
You meet them where they are. You meet them where they are. I accept.
And then, but what I think is cool to add to this is that you intuitively ask your sacred self, is this person open to hearing my perspective?
It's so good.
Because there are some people that are. And when you get accustomed to living from your sacred self, trusting your sacred self 100%, it's just such a comfortable space to be in. And like you'll ask and you'll know, oh, this person isn't. So the person I was talking about earlier, not open. So I'll continue to ask, and I continue to feel, nope, she's not open to receive me being me. So I kind of have to, not that I can't be me around her, but I don't share in the way I share with you.
Right. And there could be a whole different thing that may be going on internally within her. There may be some different things or challenges within her that she might be trying to grow or heal on her own and don't, really have access to like the words and maybe the processes or maybe certain resources or just even like becoming aware of certain things that are internally. She probably don't know that there are other possibilities and things that she can tap into to give insight to what she wants.
Yeah. Her reactions to me sharing, if she was in her sacred self, she would feel that my sharing and my enthusiasm is not from arrogance, it's from excitement and passion and living my gift. But she's not coming from her sacred self in those instances. Not that she can never visit. She visits, but how long does she stay there? And maybe she drops into her wounded self around me or around me when I share.
Wow.
So that's
deep.
Really, it is. If you are further along on the journey, I'll call it, you're in a place where you live from your sacred self more often. It's a big responsibility. I call it being responsible with your light.
Yes.
be responsible with that light. No, is this someone I can engage with in this way, or do they need to work on themselves a bit more? And of course, I'm always asking that of myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's really powerful. I like that you mentioned and highlight responsibility when you're in your sacred self, because that is a real thing. It's real energy. When you are so elevated within yourself, you're very, very comfortable with who you are. You own and you embrace that part, this inner truth. When you're interacting with other people on the outside, you'll notice, like, you'll be so aware of like where people are in their personal journeys, and having just that discernment, having that empathy, having that patience, and accepting where people are, and then being okay with, you know what, that's where you are, not personalizing it or connecting it to your sacred self, because you don't want to blend these energies at all. But that responsibility is like, okay, now that I'm aware of myself, I also know that everybody are in different stages of their journeys, and I accept that. And for people who are open to that, like us, where we are, how we communicate to each other, it's easy, it's a flow, it's completely understanding.
So nice.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. It is.
We're business partners, y'all. So just so you know, I may be raring to go with, let's look at this, let's do this today, and she'll be, you know what, I'm just not in that energetic space. And I'm so good with that, because there's going to be days where I do that and do that. We are not your typical corporation.
Yeah. So much balance for like the Libra skills, like yin and yang. It's a really good balance and understanding, and we're very open to communicating to each other. Always open to communication, asking clarifying questions, not personalizing, and asking for clarity when it's necessary. I mean, it's really nice. I like this.
Yes, and I'm going to show an example.
Sure.
Can I offer an idea that just came to me with regard to your cat Moon?
Yes.
See, I'm this cat whisperer, or I think I am.
Yeah.
So your cat wants to be at the level that you're at right now. Are you at a bar or a table?
Yeah, I'm on this island.
Okay. So what you need is a scratching post or some sort of cat tree that is the same height as the island.
Write that down.
Yeah. When you again, like, I love cats so much. Yes, I'm a cat lady. I have 2. You will meet them someday, but I'm so about creating an environment where the cat feels like I'm the owner, I run this place, because that's really important to their self-esteem and their territorial desires. And if you don't do these things with your cat, here's cat lesson. You'll get behaviors you don't like. So whether it's a cat tree or something higher that you can say, here, they can be there, because your cat is really longing to be in your presence right now and near you.
Yes.
And so I have scratching posts in every room of the house.
Okay.
Because they do that to get their energy out. And some scratching posts have little places where they can sit.
Okay.
So however you want to do it, but if there's something, even if you had like an extra little TV stand or something that you could place beside the island, even a tall chair. Yes. It's so comforting. See, now she has a space next to you.
It's working.